Do you think the Lions' failings? Let me just ask you this question: do you think the Lions' failings right now are more about the X's and O's or the Jimmy and Joes? I know that it's both. Like we could say there's been some questionable coaching.
Right.
I would agree, and it's not just the head coach; it's all across the staff.
Yes, there's a shared responsibility.
Yes,
the majority of the reason that they're where they're at right now is because of a lack of talent. So it's the lack of Jimmys and Joes.
Yes. One theory that that we are about to see really put to the test that absolutely will impact this team's future is whether or not the theory that Dan Campbell is a coach that players want to play for, that will get tested this offseason. When they take cap space into the offseason, does Dan Campbell, is playing for him, help them? And I don't know that it does, okay? That was floated out there, and everybody in Hard Knocks loved him, and the players speak glowingly of him. Everybody does. But is all that just kind of hollow praise with no practical application in the real world, right? I mean, is that just a bunch of words that they think he's nice and they like him from afar, but do they like him so much that he is part of the allure to Detroit? The allure to Detroit, the allure to any free agent market is the money. It's a cap league. There's limitations on salaries. And if a player can get his, they probably are open to almost all of the 32 teams. But as a tiebreaker, if two teams are offering a similar amount of money, does Dan Campbell attract anyone? And that's going to get put to the test. It's going to get put to the test. In the meantime, Dan Campbell and his staff, which we'll see how the staff shakes out because he's already bombed out one assistant. He might bomb out another. But do they get better as coaches as the season goes on? I'm not against firing him, okay? I'm not. He's, to me, not in a fired position right now, needing to coach his way out of it or anything of that like that. But the scales could tip the rest of the way.
Yeah, Look, I think you have to be open to any kind of scenario, but I'm also, for me to be open, I'm going to wait for the whole season. Let's wait for the whole body of work here on this year to come through, and I'll make my judgment at that point in time. My guess is that I'm not going to be willing to fire him at the end of the season because I do like Dan Campbell. I think he brings a lot of things to the table that are good. I think to keep this team upbeat and playing hard, I don't think that's an easy task. I really do think that they're against it because of a lack of talent. I'd like to see them find more consistency, and in year 2, you should see it, and you should see it by midseason. Here we are at midseason, and we haven't seen enough of it. That's going to have to change. He did just fire his defensive backs coach. How will the players respond to that? I'm really curious how the players respond to that. They may get Jerry Jacobs back, which is that going to help the secondary? It's not going to hurt them. So we'll see how that does. And if this shakeup at all, does it rock some of these guys to the core and say, wait a minute, okay, they just fired coach. We like coach. Coach was good. Because the players have to take ownership of the fact that they play a big role in why coaches get fired as well. So I'll wait and see on Campbell by the end of the season, but I'm leaning towards him being the guy who's going to get here for year 3 as well. But this is, and I heard Wojo say it too, and I agree with him 100%, this is all about Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes is coming back without question. He just made a big move, all right? He traded away a Pro Bowl caliber tight end to get more draft capital, also freed up some cap space. Okay, it's on you, big boy. You got to make these moves work, and I think he will. My 51, and it's more than 51, believes in Brad Holmes to get it done. But the part where I'm concerned is, will Brad Holmes spend the money wisely in the offseason? Is he going to get a difference maker in the offseason? Because it's something that they really haven't done. He hasn't gone to free agency and said, this is our guy, here's a 4-year contract. They haven't done that yet. And to your point about Dan Campbell, is he going to be able to attract players? yeah, this is a big thing for him too. I mean, is he
if
still able to do it?
If he's not really an allure, and they don't get particularly better, it's getting more difficult to build a case for him to be around. If we even wanted to build a case, I don't care who the Lions coach is. I just want wins. I also want to know before I fire a guy, all right, this guy is never going to get it done. And I don't think we have enough evidence yet. I think he brings a unique skill set to the table that is really tested right now, and that's getting everybody to buy in, believe in your message, not giving up and all that. Because I think it's a difficult thing to do, an underrated thing to do, but it's not the only thing that makes you a good coach. I think it's one of the prerequisites to being a good coach. But if you F up everything else, it doesn't really matter.
This is very true.
Yeah. So
don't F up.